What's up everybody, welcome to the Fomo Factory. Today I will show you an insane Bitcoin price prediction that you're probably not going to believe. And I also will show you some statistics that show when this is likely to play out. And with that being said, we need to be prepared. Of course, it is a bear market, so let's also talk a little bit about the best altcoins to buy, when to buy, building a crypto portfolio, Drip network being a scam, Ponzi, a lot of stuff. So let's get into it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Also, I'm giving away a full crypto portfolio. The only thing you have to do for now is being a subscriber of the channel. We're almost at 1,000. I appreciate that a lot. Now, first, let's take a look at some comments that I got on the channel, because I love to just, interact with you guys. Maybe if you have some questions in the comments or suggestions or whatever, we can go over it. And I don't go over it all because a lot of responses are responses to building the community portfolio, right? So if you have a good coin, let me know. It goes into the community portfolio for the portfolio challenge, and that portfolio might have the biggest return, so you can win that, right? So yeah, by the way, first, the Fomo Factory, blah blah blah, these are bots, okay? So I will delete them from the channel as much as I can, but it's hard to keep up. If you ever see something like this is not me. I don't have WhatsApp. I will never ask you to contact me, right? So to leave it there, just know that. Please don't get scammed. I was working on BitBoy's portfolio for the challenge. I'll come back to that. Someone said, remove XRP, leave it to BitBoy. Yeah, but it's BitBoy's portfolio, right? So yeah, and if I think about BitBoy, I think about XRP. So we have to add it to that portfolio. I cannot not add that, right? So let's go over some comments that we got. Nice video and all the compliments. Thank you very much. I try to be here every single day in this bear market until we make it, right? So with that being said, someone said for the crypto portfolio challenge, don't forget about Elliott Trade. And yeah, he's very good, very good. The thing is though, he doesn't give altcoin calls right now. He's more like, watch out with this market, how to play the market, but not what coins to buy. And I need them now on my watch list, right? Because I will show you when I think the crypto market will recover and when it will top out. And as far as that predictable, I mean, it's not, but we can speculate on based on statistics, right? And based on that, we need to prepare now. We need to prepare now. There's not a lot of time, in my opinion, right? So let's take a look. Yeah, cool. Someone said, man, I could sit for 60 minutes long watching your videos. Thanks, man. I don't think everybody is waiting for that, so I'll try to keep it shorter than an hour. But it's cool to hear that someone wants to watch it to the end. How long do you think the video should take, by the way? Leave a comment, leave a comment, leave a comment. It's mostly about portfolio challenges, so I will definitely make a video about that. Someone said, make another video on SNFTS. I'm buying more until I get million coins. The bitch is holding steady at 0.15 cents. Yeah, SNFTS. Now I'm not gonna spend too much time on that in this video, but it is a great project, of course, and I think this is going to really blow up. Yeah, it's just good. It's having a little pump right now. I'm shooting this video a little on forehand, so price may be a little different when you watch the video. But yeah, it's doing great. It's one of my biggest bags, to be honest. I got mostly airdrops from it, so I haven't really paid it. But yeah, I'm staking it. I'm farming it. It's going great. Don't know what else to say about it. I will make a full dedicated video about Seedify and all the changes and the things, because they are doing a lot, right? So with that being said, I would like to go over a comment that I got, and this is the comment that I got. Because I said, someone asked like, yo, what do you think about Drip network? And I say, yo, don't care much about the Ponzi like that. And someone said, I feel bad for you. You really need to take a look at Drip again, bro. It's the best project out there by far. I wasn't early or anything, but for you to say that it's a Ponzi, that's out of order. And he also made another comment saying like, yeah, but I'm making money with it. Yeah, of course you make money with it. The Ponzi is to make money, right? But let me first tell you this. Yeah, it's the best project by far. Yeah, if it's the best project for you, that's possible, of course, right? But what I said, basically about Drip network, I don't want to step on some toes here, but I just want you guys to be careful, right? Because these things don't sustain, right? So I said, No offense to the investors, of course, but the project's main purpose is staking, right? It's just staking, okay? So in other words, it has no use case, but they do give out 365% APY. The only way to keep that sustainable is by giving the old investors the money that comes from new investors. That's what a Ponzi is, right? That's and what they say in their own white paper is, if there is a situation where the tax pool, and this is just straightly copy paste, this is literally in a white paper, right? If there is a situation where the tax pool is not enough to pay the drip rewards, new drip will be minted to ensure that rewards are paid. So if there's a situation where the tax pool is not enough to pay new rewards, aka if there's a situation where people that step in don't have enough money to pay the people that are already there, right? They will mint more tokens, so the price goes down. Yeah. I don't know, it sounds like Ponzi to me, bro. So I said, so the money comes from the investors, and if there are not enough investors, they mint new tokens. So the holdings of the current investors go down anyway. It's not for no reason that this project came down way more since February than most other projects did since last November, and I can pretty much guarantee that that keeps on happening unless more and more people step in to keep the Ponzi mechanism alive. But at a certain point, no more new people step in, right? That won't go on forever. That's not possible, right? So in that case, they will keep on minting tokens to keep it alive. And that's when you will notice that the price really comes down, right? And then the newer investors, they have paid for it and they get some returns, but it's not enough to sustain against the price coming down. So that's eventually what a Ponzi does, right? The old investors profit from it. So if we take a look at Drip Network, for example, I can show you that, Drip Network, if we look at the price chart for Drip, it was at $170. January, the end of January, beginning of Feb, right? It's now sitting at $6, right? So 173 times 6, it came down 28 times, almost 30 times, right? There are no or not a lot of projects in the top 100 that came down that much. Even since November, the bull market, right? For example, Uniswap, $40, now sitting at $5. And that will be way more. It will be way more. So I'm not saying like, like I said, like scam or Ponzi or, these words that I use. It is a Ponzi, of course, it is a Ponzi. Is a Ponzi a scam? Yeah, technically it is a scam. But it's not a scam as in they try to take money from everybody. Like, people profit from it. And yes, you can make very decent money for a relative short time. That's what a Ponzi does, right? That's keeping the Ponzi alive. So just wanted to clear that. It's not a bad thing, but it's definitely not a coin that you should hold for a year. 100% not. Unless you already took your investment out, then it doesn't matter, right? But, I would not put any money in myself right now, at least. So now that I got some haters on this channel, sorry for that, but that's just my look at it, man. Can't help that. So no, it's not for me. Maybe to throw, like, you have all these shit coins, and you have Drip, and that goes in the same category for me, like putting a little money of my portfolio in, just like YOLO, and we'll see. That's my portfolio, right? So let's go to the Bitcoin price prediction, though. I showed you before, and this is quite like, you might feel like, is this realistic? I saw some guys tweeting, 2 YouTubers that I often watch, and they said something about Bitcoin and its returns, and I totally don't agree to that, right? So the first one that said something like that was Alex Becker. And he said, you ain't getting rich from crypto anytime soon unless you're a killer swing trader. He also said, by the way, there's somewhere like, there won't be a bull run. He implied like something like there won't be a bull run for the next 8 years. Yeah. You ain't getting rich from crypto anytime soon unless you are a killer swing trader, is my point. Yeah, definitely true. But then it is boring to DCA and check back in 5 years time for a crispy 50 to 300%. Not we are gonna make it life-changing wealth time, right? That part I 110% disagree on. This is not making sense in any way because of multiple things, right? It is boring to DCA and check back in 5 years time for 50 to 300%. For now, and for other people saying this time is different, every time is different, right? Yes, now we have the recession, now we have war, now we had COVID. Back in the day, we had the stuff that was going on back then. Every time is different, right? Of course, right? But that doesn't mean that so far the cycles are 4-year cycles, right? So saying like check back in 5 years, if everything is correct, we will have a cycle within 3 years from now. So within 5 years, we will be in a new bear market probably. So that's already 1.5 cycle further, right? So 5 years, I don't know. Crispy 50 to 300%. So that means he expects, you know, like he's talking about, right? He's talking about this. Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, and Link seem to be the easier ultra long-term buys here. Nothing sexy, boring as investment of 5-10% of one's portfolio. And then he says he expects 50 to 300% in 5 years. So at max, a 3x for Bitcoin. Okay. I want to show you my Bitcoin price prediction. Also, Miles, by the way, said something like that. At some point in the next 6 months, I'll decide to go risk on and sell most of my Bitcoin and Ethereum for alts. I agree. I'm here to make generational wealth, not a 3x. I disagree. Also, they both say that Bitcoin will max do a 3x. All right, let me show you this. So if we look at the Bitcoin cycle so far, right, we take the bottom of the bear market. As far as you know, you could call it a bear market here in 2011, right? This was more of the same rally, basically. But still, we take the bottom to the top of the next bull market. And I did this for every run, every single run we had. The bottom to the top, Bitcoin, 40x. The next one, we had the bottom. Here was the bottom of the bear market. Here was the top, right? Bitcoin, 100x. Again, after that, a bottom. And this wasn't even, was this a complete bear market? Yeah, basically was, right? So we got the bottom here and we got the top here, Bitcoin, 17x. Then we got the 2017-18 cycle. We had the bottom, which was here, right? This point was the lowest point. And we had the top here, Bitcoin, 110x. All right. And then we got the last cycle. We went from the bottom, which was here, around $3,300, to the top, around $70,000, Bitcoin 20x, right? On average, that's a 60x from the bottom of cycle A to the top of cycle B, on average. So, it doesn't make sense to say that this time it's going to max do a 3x. That means that it will do 20 times as bad as average, right? And I'm not even talking about that it could do better than, you know, average. Bitcoin did more than 100x in 2 cycles, right? It did 115x here, 110x here. Crazy, right? The lowest it ever did was a 17x, the lowest. But it was basically in the same cycle still, right? So if we take a complete cycle, then the lowest it did was 20x. So it doesn't make sense in a time where a lot of institutions stepping in, where everybody now knows about Bitcoin, where companies are building on metaverses, NFTs, payments, that Bitcoin somehow does 20 times as bad as average. Sorry, it doesn't make sense to me, right? The only argument that people could have is this time is different. this time was different. This time was also different. I bet you people said that this time was also different. And this time was also different. You know, right? So in that case, I would like to give you my Bitcoin price prediction. So let me show you how I am basing this on, right? So let's say first, right, we're gonna have a best case scenario, a more realistic scenario, and a couple of really worst case scenarios, okay? So in this case, let's start with the best case scenario, right? Best case scenario, 17,000. Let's round it up to, let's round it up to 17,000, was slightly higher, but 17,000 was the bottom, right? Bitcoin did 100x before, even 110x, 15x, but let's say 100x, okay? So let's say, I don't need a calculator for that, by the way. Bitcoin, the bottom is $17,000, and it does another 100x. It showed twice out of a couple of cycles that it can, right? We'll put Bitcoin at the top of the next cycle at $1.7 million. It happened twice out of the 5 times before. It's already pretty realistic, right? And I get it. Now there has to be a lot more money into crypto. So of course the returns are going to be lower. But on the other hand, you know, the previous cycle we did 20x, but already the cycle before that was one of the best cycles, right? Before that, we had slightly, well, way worse. So, no. So, best case scenario, in this case, $1.7 million. All right, so let me write it down for you guys. Best case, 1.7 million. And I'm also going to show you when I think this is going to happen, right? Then, second best case. I don't know. It's hard to exactly, you know, because the bottom also differs. So let's say the Bitcoin bottom won't be at $17,000, but Bitcoin goes down. You know, we have a wipeout before that happens, right? And it goes down to, let's say, $14,000. Okay, so we're going to do a $14,000 Bitcoin, and it's going to be an average return, right? So this is average. This just does what it usually does on average, right? But before that, Bitcoin first goes to $14,000, right? So that's already pretty realistic in my opinion, right? So 14,000 times 60. That's $840,000. All right, so $840,000. That's not the right one. So, well, I think this, well, second best, right? Second best, 840K. And I'm not trying to be a moon boy right here. I hate that stuff, really. I'm just showing you the averages and the statistics right here. And then you can base yourself if it makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, I like to hear, but I really need to hear why as well, right? So let's go for a realistic scenario. Although I think the second best is already pretty realistic, right? But let's go for a realistic scenario. And what's realistic? Like I said, you know, the returns are getting less, right? So let's say the bears, all right, again, and Bitcoin goes to around 14K. But Bitcoin doesn't have a 60x, but it performs twice as bad as average, right? So that's 14,000 times 30. It's $420,000. $420,000. Okay, realistic. 420K. Okay, it's getting more and more realistic, and I still think that these prices are pretty high, right? Cool. Let's say the really bears, all right, and Bitcoin goes to 10K. I don't think it's going to happen though. But let's say it goes to 10K. And Bitcoin does what it did last cycle. Second worst cycle ever with a 20x, right? while Bitcoin is at 10K first. So Bitcoin has to go to 10K, so that's dramatic. That's what nobody think is going to happen. Some bears think, but it will, be disastrous and all that. And Bitcoin performs 3 times as bad as average after that, right? So that sounds like a very bad case scenario, right? In that case, well, I don't need that, because then Bitcoin does a 20x on 10K, so that's $200,000, right? So that's a bad case scenario. Bad case, 200K. Right? Now let's go for the worst case scenario, in my opinion. I'm not seeing it going any lower than $10,000, so that's not going to happen. But let's say it does the worst cycle ever, right? We never did less than a 17x. Never did less than a 17x for Bitcoin. I'm not even talking about altcoins. They do way more, right? But let's say Bitcoin does a 10x, right? Half of the last one. So that's a 10x on 10K. So that's $100,000. So that's the worst case, 100K. These are my expectations. Which one it's going to be? I don't know. Like I said, we have best case scenario, second best, a realistic, a bad case, and a worst case. And even at the bad case scenario, Bitcoin is already going to $200,000. And I know it sounds unbelievable. And that's perspective. That's why a lot of people fail in crypto. Because at this point, we came down so much, right? We are not even at 20,000. We try, if we have really a good run, we try to break that 24, 25, and it doesn't work, and we get slapped back, and everybody thinks it's never going to happen. Right? That I know it gets people out of the market, but this is where you got to believe, right? Because back in these times, I can assure you, I wasn't there. I wasn't on Twitter, right? Was that Twitter? Yeah, there was Twitter back then, but I wasn't here on crypto Twitter, if there was crypto Twitter, right? But back then, when crypto was, when Bitcoin was 80 cents, and someone said, like, oh, but, in April, in June, in a couple of months, Bitcoin won't be 80 cents, it will be $32. Everybody will thought you were crazy, right? I mean, nobody would have believed that. Here as well, we got the low. Bitcoin was $2.30. If someone said to you, like, yo, but hold on, Bitcoin is going to be $270. You were like, bro, more than 100x? Forget it. There's no reason why it should, right? Because Bitcoin was here, $2, went all the way up to $7. We got all the way slapped back to around $4, and we were there for a long time. If you were making anybody giving the idea that Bitcoin was almost $300 a couple of months later, they would thought you were crazy. Again, they will send you to a mental hospital, right? Here as well. Bitcoin, $65. When you said it was going to be more than $1,100, people wouldn't believe it. Should I go on? Also, 100x in this cycle. Bitcoin was $180. If you said, Joe, Bitcoin is $180, right? That's going on for quite a while now. And, it's really hard to break that $180, and everybody gets bored out. But hold on, because in a while, Bitcoin is going to be $20,000. Would you believe that? Same right now. Bitcoin is $90,000, right? Could go to 17, could go to 15, but around that area. If someone says, yo, we'll be okay. Bitcoin will be $200,000. Same. And that's just a 10x. That's even more realistic than everything we went over here. And it's all happened, right? So, sorry for, again, the long preaching. I know I can do this in 2 minutes, but sometimes somebody really needs to, I think, I need this. So I assume other people might need that as well, right? So, yeah, this is my expectations. We could, take the average of this, but like I said, 420 is my realistic target, but I don't want to assume, too much. So I will prepare for a bad scenario. So I stick to $200,000 for Bitcoin. Then very quickly, because otherwise it's really taking too long, when? Okay, cool. Let me show you. I made other videos about this, but I can show you right here. We have I made a complete video about this, so if you really want to know why I say this, go watch that video. It's somewhere on my channel. I have to, you know, if you can't find it, leave a comment. I will search it up for you. But this is one example. Bitcoin halvings, right? Well, every time before the Bitcoin halving, a year before the Bitcoin halving, Bitcoin already starts pumping like 4x. So far, it's always Bitcoin starts pumping a 4x. After the halving, Bitcoin really explodes, right? And usually, we have the halving in July 2016. Here in December 2017, it tops out. Again, we have the halving here in May 2020 and here in November 21. So also 1.5 years later, it tops out, right? So here again, a year before the halving, which is around May 2023, so that's in around half a year. Based on the previous statistics, I'm not saying, you know, it happened before, so it will happen, but, you know, that's what statistics are for. Bitcoin could pump like slow, but, you know, good, steady run up, right? Before that time, you know, up, down, new low, new, I don't know, right? Could go, you know, in the big scheme, it's sideways, right? Then we have the halving. It does, you know, a little nothing for a while. And then in a couple of months, it really goes parabolic again. And that will take us somewhere between June and December, so last half year of 2025, when Bitcoin will top out. And I drawn this around, you know, $190,000 to $200,000. Could easily also be $400,000 like I just showed you, 800,000, 1.7 million, I don't know. My expectation with $200,000. I do that because I can now feel like, okay, Bitcoin is going to go to $200,000. Everything above is extra, right? So if that happens, that's a 10x for Bitcoin. What do good altcoins do compared to Bitcoin? Well, try to calculate that. Try to look at the charts, what it did compared to that. And then try to calculate, okay, what are the good altcoins? So what can my returns be? What is my goal? So how much money do I need to invest now in the coming half year to achieve that goal? And if Bitcoin does go to $400,000, you double up your goal. You have doubled your goal, right? So that's basically how you play the market right now. So that's just what I wanted to talk about. I'm going to leave it here, by the way, for now. I said I'm going to talk about a little more like the portfolios and such, but I'm talking a lot about that lately. So check out one of my latest videos. Otherwise, this video is really taking too long. I really am curious to what your thoughts on this are. I don't hope I sound like a typical moon boy. I think I'm pretty realistic, but you know, if I wasn't thinking that about myself, I wouldn't be saying it. So let me know. I need your input right here. For now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, feel free, join the FOMO fam. I try to be here every single day, so I'll see you tomorrow, 15 p.m. UTC. Have a nice day, and I'll see you then. Bye.